Hello, everybody. We're live. This is the Seekers podcast for June uh, 2025. I'm Wendell Hurricane Burris, your host. Our co host is working tonight. He may show up, he may not. And we're also waiting for Barry Robertson to show up here. We have Billy Decker, BC Davis. We have Dale Bullitt, but his mic's not working, so he's going to listen and try to work on it. You want to introduce yourself, Billy?
I'm Billy Decker. I'm down here in Galveston County in Texas. I've been here since I was 24 years old back in 1978.
You know the area pretty good. All right, BC.
BC Davis. I'm here in White County, Arkansas, focused mainly in northern and northeastern White County, which, for those of you that know what a window area is, I'm in a window area. So had plenty going on. Unfortunately, here recently, not so much.
Right. Like I said, we got Dale Bullock. He's from Painburn, Heber Springs area. He's one of my right hand guys that helps me here local, and anything that we do around, we go out and check stuff. So I'm glad to have him. Like I said, Neil Huff is from the OARC area. He's having to work tonight. Hopefully he joined us, and we're waiting on Barry Peterson Robertson from Kentucky. So we'll just jump right into things that's been happening. Like BC said, it's been quiet around here for about 2 months, really, and it's been quiet around his area. Being on quiet, we'll let Billy tell about his week experience here near OARC in our area too, which we had never had nobody this time of year be in there, and it was interesting to hear about what all he was doing there and the things that was going on, and he just had a good time there. You want to tell us about that, Billy?
Well, I was hoping that Dale would make it, but he had car problems, so I wound up just going in by myself.
Yeah.
And I was out there. It was like on Sunday, and I remember what day it was, the 7th maybe. And I was out there a couple hours, and Neil showed up with a couple. He was showing them around, Neil Allen, and we talked about guitars, and the guy, what was Allen? They let him play my guitar a little bit. Told him that's what I came out there to do, kind of get the creatures curious about what's going on.
Right.
So they left, and I told Neil that I wanted to use my Predator calls and my Sierra sounds, and he kind of looked like, I don't know if that's such a good idea. He said, there's other things out here, I went, oh, okay. So it didn't really alarm me because I really felt really comfortable out there. I wasn't worried about Biggie or nothing, And all 3 days I was out there, it was nice and peaceful out there. And so I gathering wood, I'm picking up trash and all that stuff. And so Sunday night, I walked past the stream that goes towards Castle Rock on that trail, maybe 100 feet past, and I think that's where I took that first picture, that one that looks like it slid, Yeah. And I wasn't sure what it was. I took a picture. I was going to let y'all decide what you think it is. And so, I said, well, I don't want to leave camp. I said, I didn't even hear Neil pull up until he was right there, So I said, okay, I'll just hang around camp. And so I just hung around camp waiting. When you're out there by yourself, you remember what you hear because you're not listening to conversations or anything. And I heard,
right.
I told I told Neil, he came out to see me Sunday and he came out to see me Tuesday. And Tuesday he asked me, did you hear anything? And I said, well, I heard those rocks clacking down there at the stream twice. And he goes, he said, it's probably them walking in and out of the cave. And I went, okay. He goes, want to go check out the cave? I said, no. I said, Biggie's not, he didn't come in my camp. I'm not going to go down there and disturb him, you know. I said, we got a peaceful thing going on right now. And at night, it was really bright, you know, because it was a full moon those 3 nights. And
wow.
The sun, the moon was like in the southern hemisphere, and it was shining down through the trees like a street lamp. And I would roll over in my truck and I'd look out and I'd see my lantern over there and I'd see my chair over there. And because it was that bright, but I didn't see anything walking around. But then Tuesday, I was looking for firewood and walking down the trail. I walked in the middle of the road and the grass so I wouldn't disturb, because the ground was still soft because all the rain y'all had out there. And then I saw that other track, that one looked like it had 3 toes. So
yeah, me and Dale.
What?
I said, me and Dale discussed that Friday night and everything. Yeah, it was either a 3-toe track or a knuckle print. After we got to looking at it and everything, yeah, it could be a knuckle print where one was arched down and looking at you too.
Because
it sure looks like
right. You know where Dale parks his truck?
Yeah.
If he was to pull out and go about 20 feet, that's where that was, right on the right side. And I threw my glove down there for scale because, like I said, I was looking for firewood. And I went, that wasn't there a couple of days ago when I was walking around here.
Right.
So that must have happened Monday night. Walk by, but that was the only print I found, and I wasn't sure what it was. So that's why I was going to let you guys decide what it is. But it was nice and quiet out there, nice and peaceful. If Biggie was there, he didn't emit any infrasound or anything. It was really like sitting in your living room. It was
the last
nice and peaceful
2 investigations there. It's been quiet. All we found is the one bigger track and a smaller track. So it's like that used to be a hot spot where all of them was, and now it's just them 2 for some reason. 3 investigations ago when the Buns come with us, and that was in late August, and it actually sounded like 2 of them fighting out there, and they just tore up the whole forest across from where the waterfall is, that next hill where me and you rested when Clint went over the hill.
Yeah.
Ever since then, it's changed out there. Something's went on. I don't know what the fight was about or what, but since then, we've only found that one larger track and that smaller one. And even then, when we find them, they're not traveling together. It's like they're going 2 different directions. So I don't know what's going on out there now. So
yeah, like I told Neil that I heard. I didn't say I heard anything walking on the rocks. I just said I heard him clack 2 days in a row.
Right.
And it was like he came out like 11 o'clock in the morning Tuesday, and it happened like an hour before he got there. And I said, right down there. He goes, well, that's near the entrance to the cave. And I said, well, maybe there's loose rocks down there they got to walk on, But I didn't suppose it was. I just, let him decide, what he, because like Dan was telling me, Neil knows that area really good, and that's why he kind of discouraged me to not use my predator calls or my Sierra sounds, because that might have, Biggie, he says Biggie's not the only thing out here. I said, okay. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't take a shotgun or nothing with me. I wasn't prepared for that. I took my 357
when we did the town hall meeting, we had like 3 different people come up and said that they've seen the Ozark Howler right there over the top of the hill from there, and that's a cross between either a big wolf or a cat. They call it the Ozark Howler. There's been different descriptions of it. So I see Barry Peterson Robertson's made it. How you doing, Barry?
All right, you doing okay?
Yeah, pretty good. What happened to you? You look like you got your lip cut there.
I was just now shaving.
Oh, in a hurry.
Yep.
We're hoping
Just got
Dale
out of the shower.
gets his mic problem fixed here. Still nothing, Dale. We can see you and mouth moving, but they just ain't. Something's happened somehow.
Oh, and the flies are really bad out there, man.
Oh yeah, well they're
They
bad
were
here
bad
too.
Sunday, but Tuesday they were. Every fly in the forest found me. You know,
Huh.
if I wasn't gathering firewood, I was swatting flies.
Did you happen to go out by the worship area out there a little ways?
I only went like maybe 100 feet past the stream. You know,
Yeah.
as you're going towards Castle Rock.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to walk too far away from camp. You know,
I
from
understand.
my truck. You know. So I just stayed right in the area, cleaning up bottle caps and shotgun shells and trash,
Right.
burning what I could, and hauled off what I couldn't, burn.
Awesome.
Trying to clean up the area, loose, a lot of the dead wood, burning that stuff.
Right.
But I looked out my truck at night, and hopefully, I don't know if I hoped I'd seen something walk by or not, but it was bright, and I would look out my truck, and I could see my lantern and my chair, but I didn't see anything walk by or anything by my truck or anything.
All right. Well, thanks for the update. You heard anything else around your area there in Texas or anything?
Well, I was talking to this one guy from East Texas. He lives in Lufkin area, and I told him that I was going to do this, take my guitar out there, and he said that he's going to try that up in East Texas. He's going to take some people out there, kind of instead of, stomping through the woods and looking for Biggie, to pique their curiosity where they would come find out what all the noise is, what the music is. So he said he was going to take some people out there and play guitars out there in the woods. But that's it. That's all around here. Nothing here directly. This is too developed down in this area.
Right.
Linda want to know if you busted my lip.
I thought you had to straighten him out there, Ma.
That can be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How y'all doing?
Ask you how he's doing.
Well, I've been sick this week, Wendell. They don't know what I had. They said something about COVID was going around. I guess maybe I had it.
Oh wow.
Run a high fever and everything. Just wanted to sleep a lot, and they said it was going around. I guess that's what I had.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Didn't feel bad or nothing on Monday. Me and Barry went to watch wrestling on Monday night, and I told him, I said, I'm freezing to death. Turn that air conditioner on. And he said, Mom, and he said, let me check your temperature. Well, he checked it all right. It was 100.6.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, that makes you feel cold.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better today than I had.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. Have you all had much action down your way?
No, we hadn't had much in the last 2 months, really. That's what PC was talking about. And Billy actually went to our area too alone, which we had advised him not to because of stuff that's happened before, but he didn't have a whole lot of action. It might have been because there wasn't a lot of people who, they didn't feel threatened like they do when we come in there with several people.
Right.
Dale tried about 3 times to go join him, but every time he'd head out, his truck would break down. He was messaging me about it, and I was thinking I was going to have to leave work and pick him up, but he made it back home each time. So, Jimmy, Jimmy says, do what?
I said, that meant he wasn't supposed to go.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, I guess you wasn't meant to go, Dale.
Yeah.
Jimmy said howdy, y'all. Now he's got another comment. Let's see.
Wants me to pray for him. He's going through something. I will.
We sure will.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, we sure will. We sure pray for him. I've seen the Lord move so many times this time in the last year, it ain't funny. Don't know what we'd have
That's
done if
right.
he hadn't been. Yeah. I told somebody
Yep.
the other day, they were talking about it, and they said something, and I said, well, you know what? It was a doctor. Matter of fact, it was a doctor. They said something, and I said, well, you know what? If you can't do it, I know a man that can.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon we're all doing pretty good. Hope you're
They're
doing good,
good.
Jimmy.
Yeah. Oh, shit, you're scratching me.
Got a internet question. Says when you're playing calls or predator calls or sounds, have you had any luck through the speaker systems? My personal experience, no, I had never. It's like they hear the speaker, but tone difference. But other people have. So what do you think about that, Billy?
Well, in 1997, up there in Cold Spring, when I was at martial arts camp, I was out in the woods, off the trail, about 100 feet off the trail, and I was using my predator calls, and all of a sudden, I got a big dose of infrasound, and it just terrified me. And I got on the radio and said, "I'm not here. I'm not alone anymore." And I went back in, and the creature ran by us, and it was witnessed by about, 25 people at least, you know. So yeah, predator calls work, but you better be ready, you know, if it happens. You know?
Yeah, I might have. As far as the predator calls that you use with your mouth and everything, I believe that works. But if you try to play it through a speaker, it don't work. That we've seen, because what we've had a rabbit distress call, and was playing that, and we actually had stuff come running through the forest to it and everything. This is during the wintertime. And you could tell it was bipedal, and it sounded like the whole forest was coming down. But that's the only call that we've ever had actual anything answer to or come to. But it was a mouth call. It wasn't a speaker.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I have. I have some recordings, but I was using a bunch of calls that night, so I don't know if it was my hog caller or my wounded rabbit or my fawn bleat or whatever. But it was curious enough to was wondering what was making all that noise over there. And I don't know how close he got to me, but all of a sudden I got that I'm not alone, you know, and I got on the radio and I walked on out of there, you know. But then he ran by us. You know, some other guys walked in the woods down the Lone Star Trail, and Biggie went running by us, and we're all standing on the bridge at Double Lake Park, and we all heard it. And it was around midnight. It was loud. Branches snapping, feet stomping.
Yep.
And like I said, I got to call my friend Mac McGanley, and he was there with me. And we're those bunch, but he was. I call him. Hey man, did this really happen? Yeah, it happened. I was there. I heard you on the radio, and I heard him run by. I said, okay, thank you. So it was witnessed by a bunch of people, and that was back in 1997 in Cold Spring at Double Lake Park.
Right.
And Lone Star Trail it's 100 miles long. If you want to see Biggie, that's the place. You know, a lot of people camp out on that trail, and they smell all kinds of stuff. You know, like Biggie, that scent he puts off, they smell it at night. And there's one area up there close to Lake Conroe that it's not recommended to go in there. The just not a good idea. There's like a horseshoe area where the trail kind of goes to a horseshoe. And I said, yeah, that's not a good area to go in there. Walk right on past it. You know?
Right. Well, I have some friends. The Matthew Orton with the Drunken Cryptids is going up around Primm next Saturday or next weekend to do some investigations and filming. So if anybody's had any activity around Primm, Arkansas, either message me or Matthew Orton or get a hold of the Drunken Cryptid. He'll be up in that area next weekend. Like any details or any encounters anybody's had up there. So just get a hold of me. You got anything you want to bring up, BC?
I wish I did. That one guy that's had a lot of experience, he's a pretty busy guy, and he's somewhat reluctant to talk. So I'll have to just try to get with him, see if I can coax him into coming on sometime down the road. But he's had a lot of experiences where he lives. Plus, it was around Hurricane Lake area, so we know that that's a very active area. But it's still flooded, definitely. So I'm guessing they're probably up in the hills right now.
I would think so. Jimmy from the Paranormal Cryptid realm. Calling myself, I get calls, but using a speaker, I never could get them to call back. Same experience here. We have a guy with us named Marcus. If you can get him to call, he's kind of, reluctant. He thinks, we kind of make fun of him because he's got a higher pitched voice when he calls, but they'll answer right back to him. We say, hey, are you doing a maintenance call or what? So he kind of don't want to call no more, but for some reason they answer him. They'll either do a locator call or just a whoop call, but and they actually move in closer to when you can get him to do it. So that may be part of it too, pitch in somebody's voice. But yeah, we've had the same experience you've had there, Jimmy.
When I got up to the area too, the first thing I did is I took out my slide whistle. Like the noise, like what we hear on Sierra Sounds, it sounds like a slide whistle. I just used it that once, like to announce myself, and that was never heard any locator calls or anything like we did at night. Didn't hear anything. Heard owls, and some crows, but not big. No locator calls.
Jimmy says, laugh out loud. I do too. So he must have some kind of pitched voice as Marcus does. Here's Dale back. Let's see if he can talk to us now. Maybe he's got everything fixed. You got it fixed, Dale?
Nope.
Nope. No. Any wild robots in the forest? Not that I've seen. Hope none of them find us.
That was that movie they came out with there a few months ago, The Wild Robot. The Wild Robot.
Never know nowadays, though. Anything can be out there.
I just remembered something.
Do what?
I just remembered something. I ordered Instacart, and this gal here, about a week and a half ago. She was delivering, and we got to talking and found out she lived down Liberty Valley Road. Well, Liberty Valley is, about a mile or maybe not quite a mile going towards the east. If you go about another 4 miles, that's where you turn right to go down Hurricane Lake Road. But
Right.
she was telling me that she'd heard, I just said, hey, have you seen or heard anything weird? She said that she's not far from, I don't think she's too far from where we found that 19-inch three-toed print.
Yeah.
And said
I
she'd
thought
heard
that was
weird
there.
noises and wood knocks. She said she heard knocking on wood, and I says, like somebody hammering, or she was like one big whack, maybe answered by another one. She said that's what it sounded like.
I
So
definitely
there's
have
still
seen
some
that.
down in there.
Yeah,
What's that?
and I said I definitely would think that'd be from that area. Matthew and the Drunken Cryptids actually across the road on the other side was their area they was going to take us to. That's why I said we were researching the same area, different sides.
Hey, quiet down.
Different sides of the road, but since they was talking about it and everything we've been talking about going in there, the guy told him he didn't want nobody back in there. Somebody's been asking him about it, and he didn't want nobody thinking anything, so he'd rather not nobody in it. So that's why they're going to Prim to check that area out, because they lost the area there because the guy was afraid of ridicule or whatever.
I wish I knew who the landowner was. I might know him or know somebody that knows them. Maybe I could talk to them.
Yeah,
I don't know if it'd do any good, but
right. I'll see if I can get their name.
All right, thanks.
It says down here, or when you see Bigfoot shape in a tree, like a shape that's there but not. I keep forgetting what that's called, but it's when your brain sees a predator and makes a shape into something.
That's kind of like pareidolia.
Yeah, that's the word.
Parapodolia or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of, the word. That happens a lot, and especially if you blow a picture up or something, but we try to stay away from that as much as possible. But there's a lot of things that you see that's possible Bigfoot that the shape sure looks like it. Unless you do further research, you really can't tell. So that's our... Just have a good one, fellas. And yeah, he puts the word up there, pareidolia. Yeah, that occurs a lot. And the best way to have that is, or debunk that, is to have several pictures from the area. If you see any movement in that shape, or from where the shape changes directions or something like that, it's not a tree stump then, or it's not a bush or shade. Like I said, the best way is to go back to an area and then prove to yourself what was going on, if at all possible. Oh, no. Oh, there you go. And another internet question: what baits or lures have you tried other than calls? On our part, we've tried bacon, we've tried chicken. We actually accidentally tried the chicken and actually got a voice reply to the chicken that said "yelp." So, out of everything we tried, I guess chicken, I would say fried chicken's the best attractant for Bigfoot. No doubt, no lie, no joke. But it was funny. But after we sat back and think about it, but this voice was so deep, and we got it on recording. And the camera that we had that was just pointing down in the holler, just in case we got something, was probably 100 feet from us. But we was all sitting around eating this chicken that the guy had went and got for us, and telling how good it was or this. And one of the guys said, "Yeah, yep." And then the voice down in the holler replied, "Yep." And it was so low of a tone that I had experts from all around the nation message me, and you said, saying that, "Do you know that the human ear can't even hear that you got? This is a recording that that breaks boundaries." And the first guy sent was from Michigan. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure." But then there's 2 or 3 other people that messaged me saying the same thing. So I was like, "Well, cool."
Yeah,
And
peanut
as far as
butter.
gifting or anything like that, we've tried apples, we tried marbles, rocks of different shapes. That actually, we got some activity out of it. We'd place them on a log, which is chest high to me, so that's pretty good. The guy that got his car moved by a couple Bigfoot and ain't been back, Sean, was the one that was doing that with me. But we put these rocks on this fallen tree that was falling down, and 3 days we was there, or 2 nights and 3 days. And each time when we come back, the rocks had been moved. So unless somebody was going down in that holler and moving them, something definitely was making different patterns out of the rocks. So that worked. So that might be something somebody could try. I don't know. Anybody else got anything else? Any kind of gifting that they done or anything, or received gifts?
We did the peanut butter and apple slices mixed together. And then we did I tied bright colored ribbons out in the trees around my cameras and stuff, thinking they'd be interested in them. And then I started spraying different scents around, cologne, perfume.
Yeah.
Never did really get nothing out of it.
Right. It's one of them things. Any researcher out there, us, y'all, anybody, try stuff. See if it works. If you get results, that's great. And if you don't, then you can check that off your list. Try something new. That's the name of the game. And what works in one area may not work in another area. We've had that happen since we focus on actually 4 different areas. The stuff that works at OARC and what we hear there is totally different than Sillamore and the activity there. So it's like different clans use different stuff and sounds and tree structures. Some areas you have very few tree structures or just markings or just like the Alpha X. But then other areas, there's tree structures everywhere doing all kinds of stuff. So just try what you want. Somebody
Oh yeah, I found things and I believe they left for me.
Yeah, I was saying somebody found a ball and
I found the ball, the cork baseball older than any of us.
Yeah, I believe that was definitely it didn't just happen up there.
Yeah, the old army helmet that come from either World War One or the Korean War, I found right in the middle of a trail one day. Had to wonder how that got there.
Yeah.
Wasn't nothing funnier than if anybody had a camera out there watching me take a stick and poke and prod at it, make sure it wasn't booby trapped before I picked it up.
Right. Well, back to you haven't heard of any festivals or anything going on in their area? I still haven't heard nothing here in Arkansas about the Arkansas Bigfoot Festival.
The only one I know of coming up here is Cryptic Con. It ain't till the end of November.
Oh yeah.
I ain't even heard about it.
Yeah, they ain't even really heard about it again this year. They just have it every year.
Now, they didn't have a very big crowd last year.
No, I think they had more vendors than they did people to visit them the last year.
Has anybody got any future plans we're planning on doing? I know we're doing the Arkansas Bigfoot camp out meet and greet July 25th at Forest Lake. So anybody that wants to come is invited to it. It's $15 a night camping with no power, $25 with power. We're right there by the lake. We'll be doing a night investigation at Campbell Cemetery, close to there, and other activities we'll plan by then. So anybody wants to come on out. I think last I talked to Robert Taylor, he's coming, so that'd be cool. He helps BC a lot.
I'll get out sometime soon and check my trail cameras. That's about it.
Well, we did hear them knocks or whatever. Was it yesterday?
We heard what could have been knocks yesterday, and then I heard them the other day.
Well, that's good. They may be moving back into your area.
Mm-hmm.
Hush.
Either knocks or somebody was out in the middle of the woods in the middle of the day just pounding on something for no reason.
Right. Which does happen every once in a while, but I doubt it. It's probably one of them communicating back and forth. Well, that's a shame Neil didn't get to make it for tonight. He had a lot of questions he was going to bring up and everything. Here we got one. Oh, it's back. Far as like the heat or anything like that, or weather, do you think that may do the Bigfoot migrate? We've answered that before. Unless it's extreme weather conditions, the majority of Bigfoot, I say, don't migrate as far as move all the way across continental U.S. or wherever. But if their area runs low on food or supplies, they'll move, or within a certain range, I say they do move around in. What do y'all think about that? What's your opinion, Billy?
Well, it's like when we were up there in December. There was no critters anywhere, but there was acorns all over the ground. Maybe when there's an acorn drop, everything leaves except Biggie. I did see a deer when I first pulled in Area 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I come off the road, I was just as soon as I passed that fence where that controlled burn is, I saw a big doe run by. I saw a rabbit on that trail going towards the Castle Rock, near where I found that three-toe print. But the animals are moving back in. But yeah, I get some biggies there. They're not going to stick around. I saw some birds. More than we saw in March or December. You know?
That's definitely different or new for Area 2, because usually there's nothing in there. I mean, you don't hear no birds, you don't see no squirrels, Right. So something's definitely changed, or the time of year. They may be moved back in during the fall from there. I don't know.
They have to eat acorns. There's pine trees. There's oaks everywhere. Mm-hmm. Remember when all the acorns were on the ground? We didn't see any squirrels or nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Deer.
We got an acorn tree.
What's your
I
opinion?
think extreme heat or cold drives them underground caves, in the caves underground.
Oh yeah, yeah, that could happen too. Yeah, if it's too extreme. And I know down in BC's area they move in and out because his is a corridor area, window area, depending on flooding and drought conditions is where they move around. But they go right through the area all the time. That's why you have so much activity. But it's not just that. It's not just a physical reason because there's all sorts of other activities that happens in that area, from UFOs to you name it goes through there. You get reports, so something's going on.
UFOs, dogman, aliens, two types of Mothman, and of course, Bigfoot. All those I've gotten reports of. I mean, I've seen Bigfoot and aliens myself, as Wendell and Dale were with me that time, plus Larry and Robert Taylor. If that's indeed what we saw, but it was certainly alien-like, whatever it was.
That's for sure. Yeah. Along with a shape that moved in. I have two different pictures. The taller Bigfoot shape looking around the tree. In both pictures, it's different move, way it's bent. So it's definitely something that was standing by the tree that looked like a Bigfoot that moved. So besides the alien thing that was in front of it.
Yeah, and there was some other things in that picture I can't identify. Maybe there was a dog man, maybe a Wendigo or something. I mean, I just wish I knew somebody that had the proper software that could take those photos and really try to do a more in depth. Well, not really more in depth. I can't think of the word, but really to be able to filter out and get a better look at what we were seeing. Because one of those faces looked reptilian to me. It would be to the, using the alien as a center, it would be up to probably its 11 o'clock position.
Yeah, to the left.
Yeah.
There you go. Once you get that far into the picture, you can definitely see that. That's where that pareidolia might come into play because it's getting further back in the picture and you see it, but it looks like it's there. But I know that definitely the alien and the one Bigfoot, there's no doubt that both of them are there, and what they are, I don't know. And then you got everything else that's in the back of the picture there that looks like it's there. But that's where all the vines and trees and everything come into play. But something was definitely going on that day when we got there. And besides what all started that was a branch, a 4 to 5 inch through branch that was 3 to 4 foot long that come whooping. It wasn't just thrown. It didn't fall. It come whooping right over us and landed by Dale. So there's no doubt.
Well, that picture or that whatever it was that I was just referring to, see, Larry got a picture of it too, and it looks exactly the same. And we weren't exactly side by side, maybe about 10 to 15 feet apart.
Yeah.
So it would be a very slightly different angle, but it looks exactly the same in both those pictures.
Right.
So, and you remember we had wood knocks and whoops, I think, to our 9 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 2:30 positions.
Yep.
And everything went dead quiet, all the insects and birds, except for that one locust that was close to us. But everything else, and I remember telling you, I mentioned this on an earlier podcast. When I got back to the truck and sat down, I could hear that, from the movie Predator, that clicking noise, or whatever it made. I distinctly heard that in my right ear, and I'm like, what the? And then finally got back out there next year, and the whole place had been cleared out, all back in there. All the trees been cut down.
Everything was leveled, and
Yeah.
These were some big trees that the logs, they just piled them up. Wasn't like a logger come in to use it. They just getting rid of this whole area for some reason.
Where's that, Wendell?
That's at near Hurricane Lake there.
Hurricane Lake. Okay.
Yeah, if you look on Google Earth, it's Henry Gray Wildlife Management Area, GREY, and it's close to an area. It's got several, what they call those oxbow lakes, where the river used to run, and the deep spots just remain, like lakes. It's a place called Mallard Pond.
Okay.
Is where we saw all that. So if you want to kind of get, if you want to look on Google Earth and kind of get a look at the area, then. But yeah, there's been a lot of activity down there, not just what we've seen, but what other people have told me, people I trust. And some people will speak to me, but they don't really want their names mentioned because fear of ridicule. But me, I'm past that fear of being ridiculed. I know what I saw. I don't care what they think I saw. I know what I saw.
Right. We had some activity on the Catherine Creek up here. A guy from right up the road here called me and Dale in and told us about the activity and showed us this video actually of something that was moving just outside of what would be the night light. This would have been in the February time, and it's taller than the fence, probably double the fence. So ever how tall the fence is, probably 4 foot, pushing 8 foot or 7 foot, depending on how tall that barbed wire fence is. And it walks all along that fence, and then another one stands up. Well, I went up and visited him and talked with him, and I've been trying to get back a hold of him. I see they're finally back yesterday. I guess they move around or move to a new area or something. But he's back now, so I'm going to try to get a hold of him this week and see if we can get that contact. And he's going to show us where all that occurred. So get that booked again. Because they were originally from like Tennessee or whatever, but they were living over there, moved here to work, and so now that they're back, maybe we can connect some bases with them and investigate that. It's just handy that the area that we have, which is it'd be to the right, to the north of where he's living, is where we had that activity where we went and there was big ones and a smaller one, and where Dale found the little bitty baby tracks. So it may be the possible same 4 that's just moving up and down the creek. Makes a big U around the area. So just because it's on this side of the hill, it's 3 miles away on this side of the hill, they could just walk around the creek, been the same group. That'd be interesting to see if we can the track size and everything. If it don't turn off to be just 100 degrees in summertime.
Oh, and I forgot. Also, cloaked entities. I told you about. There's two sightings within. They may have been in the same year, both with multiple witnesses. One had 3 witnesses. One had 2 witnesses of the cloaked entities, for lack of a better word. The males that saw them will not talk about it. The females will, but the males rather not even talk about it. Just take that from that what you will.
Okay. Well, that's something else along that same line was the neighbor on that property that I was just telling you about that across the road from where we was researching. They seen something that was either cloaked or what they called them shadow figures, because you could see something walking and shake, but it looked more like just a shadow to them. So That's on that same property that the cryptids ain't allowed to go to no more. So,
Well, you know, that lady our first investigation here, we found those little baby squatch prints. She has mentioned seeing those going through her yard, along with orbs and apparitions. Yeah, there's something going on down there, because you described something that sounded like what some call a type 2 canine variant dogman, which is the hyena type, and I've heard of a couple sightings of those. So I think there's been 3 or 4 different types of dogman spotted around here: the standing timber wolf, the Anubis, the type 2 canine variant, and there was another one. It may have been a smaller Anubis or a smaller standing timber wolf type, but 3 or 4 different types of dogman.
Right.
Ain't we got fun?
Yeah.
And where I live, you know, I've heard whoops and screams and howls in the woods behind my house, and I live in town.
Yeah. You messaged me a couple of times when stuff you've heard and everything. This is right there.
Yeah, and the orb, that giant orb, about 150 yards roughly to the south of me. I saw it just going through the, tops of the trees. I watched it for about a minute and said, well, I think I'll go in now. Went in, got every weapon I had, surrounded myself. Said, man, if something comes in, at least the police are going to know that I fought. There was a firefight.
Yeah. Well, that's just like Tony Maddox, the guy that got me. Second investigation I went on. First was we went to Powell, but the second one was about a little camper trailer that was across from the school at Jacksonville. There's just a little bitty section of the woods there, but something had been coming up and pushing on this camper trailer at night. And I'm like, there ain't gonna be nothing here. Tony, it's right in town. It's along the creek, And sure enough, we got there and found all kinds of tracks. And then just here recently, and this guy's going to be at the Bigfoot camp out. He wanted to know if anybody had activity or where to go. And he said he lived in Benton. And I said, well, you're right there by activity. I went down there to where it's a store that sells, it's not Granger's it. Their shipping plant down there. They had a homeless colony right across the road in the woods I was telling him about. And me and Tony went down there to try to see what we could do to run the Bigfoot off, because nobody would believe them. They thought they was all high or whatever, and the cops was trying to run them off instead of helping them with their problem. And I went to telling this guy about it. He said, whoa, you know about that? And I said, yeah. I was once down there trying to run this thing off. And he said, my uncle was worked at the rock crusher or quarry right there down the road from that. And he had all these wild tales about seeing all this stuff and everything. And you're confirming what he saw in the same area. I said, well, it'd be interesting to talk to you and him. So they're both going to be at the Bigfoot camp out. And that was just out of the blue that we knew about the same activity there in the area. So, just because it's a city don't mean there ain't going to be no activity if there's an access point. Either a highline wire, a train track, or a creek that's got enough area to move where they can move through at night or whatever, or a spot that inside of a town or something that's wooded that nobody ever goes to hardly. So, and the one that does Arkansas Bigfoot conference,
Robert Swain.
Robert Swain, yeah. I don't know why his name left. He's a pretty good friend, and his name just left me. But anyway, He's had all kinds of camps around Conway where they've been up to restaurants and pulled over dumpsters, all sorts of things that people say, and they're in his book.
Well, yeah,
just you're in town don't
right
mean
down
that
the
they
road, about I don't know, about 3/10 of a mile behind the Baptist church. Their dumpster's been dumped over a couple times after they've had like a potluck or something. And these aren't small dumpsters; these are like the industrial type.
right.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think a bunch of teenage boys would be able to go out there and pull something like that.
no.
Plus, there's a big house behind it where the people said they heard the samurai chatter,
Yep.
and their alarm went off, and then they saw a UFO flying, I think 50 or 60 feet above the ground. The way they described it, and based on the height of the trees, that's my estimation. And that's like literally, you know, as the crow flies, maybe 150, 200 yards from me. I mean, I don't have to travel far for weirdness, that's for sure. I can just step out my front door and there it is.
Yeah, since you're an investigator now, I guess that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least I got people I can tell it to.
Yeah, some people might say, well, that's a bad thing, but
It's just a thing, you know, as I look at it.
right.
When you was working, you spent this time was when you hear on Husband Law.
And plan.
Something's popping and cracking. You cut out.
Something going on with the internet again. It's flashing on and off here. Everybody still be able to hear everybody?
Yeah,
I can
hear you.
All right. In December, we're planning an investigation back to OARC, but we're going on the opposite side of the road from Area 2. I don't think you've ever been over there, Billy. There's a road that goes to the left and goes back there. That's where we heard samurai chatter all in one night.
is that where Neil had rocks thrown at him?
Do what?
Is that where Neil had those rocks thrown at him?
No, that's White Rock Mountain.
Okay.
And that's an active area and everything too. That's up where Bees Rock is.
Because you know that road we were traveling, that you traveled, remember we went up on top of the mountain that one time? Neil
Yeah.
told me that if you keep going up that road, it looks like there's these giant monoliths that somebody put there, you know? And then he said off to the left, I don't know what road that is. He said that's where that's rocks thrown at him.
Yeah, that's the road that goes up to White Rock Mountain. Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
No, not where the Area 2 is. Okay, where you're coming to Area 2 and you see the drive where you turn right.
Right.
Right before that, about 200 yards, there's a little dirt road. It looks like a driveway. It's actually a county road that goes back down in there and goes to a cemetery that's up on a bluff line. Right there where we heard all that samurai chatter that one night. It was like 32 degrees. And we was out there camping. Down in that holler was where all the samurai chatter sounded like little big kids playing, but you couldn't understand a word they were saying. Then finally, about 1 o'clock at night, there's one big woo, and everything just shut off. So we're going to go back there in December and camp.
Yeah, I won't be able to make one in December, man.
Right. But I'm sure we'll be doing others. We get it scheduled for in the spring. That'd be a good place to return to, that White Rock Mountain you're talking about, where they had the rock thrown at it. And we've never actually camped there all at night, so it'd be a good place to maybe set up camp and do a night camp there all night long.
Yeah.
Well, anybody got any subject they want to bring up or talk about? We went over our hour limit. My little light just started blinking.
Nothing here.
No.
All right, this has been a good podcast and good talking with all y'all. Once again, Dale didn't had mic problems, so we won't be able to hear from him. But I'll let everybody say their closing words, and we'll start with you, Billy, and then work around to BC and then Barry.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, BC.
Well, if I hear anything, I'll let y'all know. But like I said, been slow. Maybe something will kick off.
I'm hoping same around here. It's been slow. Barry?
The same thing. If I hear or see anything, I'll let you know. Post it online. Everybody have a good night and God bless you.
Yeah. Well, thank everybody for tuning in and watching us. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to message me or Neil Allen, the co-host. Maybe he'll get to be here next time. As usual, we're always seeking any evidence or activity that's going on. Let us know about it, and we're seeking the answer to the cryptic question. And Dale, he's from the Heber Springs, Cranburn area. Maybe he'll have his mic working next time. Good seeing everybody and talking with you, and thanks for all the comments. Everybody next month around 23rd, we'll get back and have a podcast. Everybody have a good night. Thank y'all.
All right. Later.
Better.